everybody. Welcome to my presentation on managing referral and termination. My name is Juliana Nordhughes and I'm a master's candidate for performance psychology. I have a background as a former athlete, a former assistant coach and goalkeeping coach of Point Loma Nazarene, a behavioral therapist and consultant for 11 years, a teacher, and a yoga instructor. But today, as we talk about managing referral and termination, our focus is on our clients and our responsibility to our clients. Whether we're talking about athletes or businesses or high-risk occupations or any other domain you may find yourself consulting, it is important that we follow certain guidelines so that when it does come time to terminate or refer a client, it goes smoothly. The road to termination can be a narrow and windy road. So today we're going to talk about some things that will help you along this road. We're going to talk about presenting yourself, building a relationship, optimal consulting, and how all these things will help you when it comes time to refer or terminate a client. So here we go. Presenting yourself. It's important that when you present yourself to someone, you remember how you have a lot of skills and you are great at doing this. So present yourself well. Show them your skills. Showcase your accomplishments so the client can get a better background about what you do and what your focus is. Let them know your style. And also, be honest. These two last parts are very important because when you're working with a client, you don't want them to have any surprises, and there will be no confusion when it comes time to terminating them because you've been honest about how you do your work from the very beginning. The next step on the road to termination is building a relationship. Building a relationship can really not be done without the last step in presenting yourself, honesty. With honesty, you will build a relationship with a client because that builds trust. And by being upfront with the client, they will know that confidentiality is built into your practice. Perhaps a more difficult skill is empathy. The development of empathy helps you see your client through their own eyes and helps you put yourself in a perspective so that you both can get the most out of your time together. This will help you make a connection with your client. And when it comes down to making a decision about termination or referral, you will be able to make a better one, having made the connection with them. And as always, we are bound to an ethical practice through the guidelines of the APA so that we are always serving our client's best interests. When I work with a client, I always like to let them know my focus and my style. You want to let them know your focus so that you can elaborate to them what it is that you do. This is important to do right out of the gate with a client because what you do may not be what they're looking for. In addition, style, it's important to let the client know your style right away because it could be that your style does not work for this client. That way, when it comes time to terminate or refer a client, and it's because it's outside your focus or outside your style of what you prefer to do, then there's no confusion as to why you're making the decision. And you can always go back to the conversation where you talked about focus and style, and you could remind them that this is simply outside what I do and it's time for me to refer the client to another resource. It may be very difficult, but it is very important for you to be honest when you find that what the client wants from you is outside of your scope. If you do decide to continue services with a client that is outside of your scope, it is eventually going to lead to referral or termination, and that is going to be a much more difficult task than if you had been honest in the first place and just referred them to a resource that would be more beneficial to the client. Our next topic is optimal consulting. So obviously, if you're taking into context, you're building trust, confidentiality, building empathy, making a connection with the client, and your practice is ethically sound, then you're going to find that your client is going to be more open with you. The trust is going to be built upon, and you'll be able to set better goals with each other. The more you know your client, the better you will be able to make judgment when it comes time for you to make decisions for them, such as termination and referral. And these decisions are going to be more successful decisions if you're able to build that relationship first. Finally comes the time to say goodbye. You may end your consultation with a client for many reasons. Some may be that what the client needs from you is outside of your scope. Another could be that you have a client that is resistant to your consulting. Maybe they don't like the way you do things, and that would be a time to refer them to a resource where you think they could get better help. Finally, the most optimal reason for terminating a relationship is the client no longer needs you. This is where we all are going to strive to get to. We want to do our job so well that the client is no longer dependent on our services, that we've shared our skills with them and we've shared our abilities with them, and they've developed their own skills and their own abilities to move on and conquer their goals on their own. That brings me to the end of my presentation on managing referral and termination. What I'd like you to take with you today is remembering to present yourself well. Build that relationship with the client. And don't forget the guidelines to optimal consulting. With all that put together, termination and referral of your client should come with ease. Thanks again, everybody. If you'd like more information or if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me at juliana@fvsmedia.com. Thanks again, everybody, and have a great day.